2023 preliminary budget for the town of Tustin. I will open to the floor first. Any questions? Yes, Star.
I just noticed on, page 5 of the budget, it said street lighting. And it said, 2022, contractual, whatever that means, $6,000. And then when it comes to the tentative projected, amount, it's cut in half, it's $3,000. Does that mean the, LED lights that we put in the buildings here and along the streets have reduced the cost to the town of that much?
No, what we've done is, that is for the street lighting that is outside the street lighting district that has the LEDs. We reduced that down because we don't have not been using as much in that particular line.
No explanation for the change?
We've overfunded the line would be the easiest explanation for the change.
I had one other question.
Absolutely.
In most of these categories, they list first contractual and give it a number, and then they have like expense, and that's usually a different number. What's the difference between,
Which one are you looking at so that I can,
well, like right now, it's page 5 of 18, and superintendent of highways contractual is,
that's a full expense. A5010.4 is what you're looking at.
yes,
That's contractual expense. You'll see next to expense, there is no line number. So instead of just writing it all out together, it's a contractual expense. Just like above is personal services, personal has the A5010.1, but the services has nothing next to it because it's personal services. That's the,
okay, so in that same thing, the highway superintendent, personal, what does that refer to?
his salary.
His salary, okay. And then contractual is just something that was like bid for sand or something like that.
Well, contractual, and that would be things that he needs for his office, books, things like that.
I see.
We need to be on Zoom. It is.
No one is raising their hand or anything. I have Tony Ritter, Brandy, and Lynn. Who knows, I just entered.
What was the overall rate? I'm down on me. That was when. I'm missing. That's what I'm trying to get into New York State. I believe it is under 1%. I think is what we came up with.
Dan,
Yes, Star.
sorry, I noticed here too, it has the different categories, and one of the things says budget officer. Who is the budget officer?
That is a supervisor.
Supervisor, okay. And that would be my next question is there any way to tell on these different expenditures and officials? Crystal is down as clerk and tax collector, but does she hold any other of these as well?
She does not hold the deputy clerk or the deputy clerk 1 or 2.
Right, but outside of that category, like,
Registrar.
What pages are registered?
town clerk. town
She is
clerk-
also on page 5, you'll see the registrar of vital statistics.
Okay,
That would fall under the clerk. That would be the clerk.
is there any place that these different people are listed, like having the title and then having it, the person who is in that position, even if it's only done by like,
Probably on the website, you can find it. For budgeting purposes, we don't put names in. So if you went on the website, you would see that under the supervisor's office, it would have my name, and then also would have the budget officer.
I see.
That never used to be done that way. That was changed at the last administration. The budget officer and the supervisor were one.
So you just go on the town
You
Webpage?
could, sure. It lists all the employees of the town that are,
and click on employees of the town and then it will list by title to who's doing what.
you could, yes. Or you can ask, and we can just tell you which one.
You're just trying to have somebody what comes in by. It's a salary.
That's it.
Sir, do you have any other questions? Because if I don't have any questions on Zoom or on the floor, I'm going to close the public hearing and move into our regular meeting.
The only other question I had, which I'm not even really sure what I'm asking, but there was something in here about the monies for the Little Lake Erie culvert. And I'm assuming that these figures are all projections and not things that you know in a fixed amount that you're going to be needing.
Yeah, the one that you're looking at for Little Lake Erie Culvert would be under the Highway Department's budget, which I believe is page number 10. And DA 5121.4, we've got $600,000 in there. Part of that is reimbursed through New York State with the funding that has been secured by Jane for the town. I believe it's not the full amount of 600,000. I believe about $40,000 less than that.
So preliminary is what's actually in there now, and tentative is what may be coming in.
No, it goes tentative is what's presented to the town clerk for the board. Preliminary is what the board gets done. Once it's approved, then it becomes the adopted. Yes, Bernie.
What's the bottom line? How much percent increase?
I was trying to find out, we're $45,000 under our tax cap, so it's roughly 1 or just under 1% of an increase.
Announce the final tax cap.
Our tax cap was $1,385,000.39. We're ending with our proposal of $1,340,038. Yes, of that 600,000 star that's in the Little Lake Erie project, 565,000 is covered by aid. The remainder of that will be covered by the town. And then that's not the cost of the project. the project will be bonded. Motion to close,
I move we close the public hearing.
a second. I have a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed. Call the regular meeting for the town of Tustin Board to order for November the 9th. Pledge the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag, of the United States, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one correspondence. This came in on the 8th. From Star. Hello, Crystal. On October 26th, I sent a request, number one below, asking to send me certification of your 8/30/22 statement. Number two below, that the EnviroVentures portable toilet the town rented last summer, emphasis applied, is an ADA unit. As I've yet to receive the certification of your August 30th, 2022 statement that the EnviroVentures toilet rented and paid for by the town last summer was an ADA unit as required by town resolution number 103 of 2022. I am resubmitting my request for that certifying documentation. I am also attaching my costing discrepancies and ADA compliance letter dated September 3rd, 2022, so that it may be properly entered along with this second certification request as correspondence on the November 9th town meeting agenda. Please have the certification statement available for me to pick up the November 9th meeting. Thank you, Star. That is the only correspondence I have. We have no presentation. For the payment of bills, the general fund expended $44,803.87. Highway expended $54,620.68. Water expended $35,433.87. Sewer $22,871.05. For a total of $157,729.47.
Do you know benefit salary? Seems low.
I don't believe that it does. No, we discussed that.
We did not have blacktop bills this month.
But
There were no blacktop bills this month. Blacktop, there was no paving. Patchwork.
no, usually the,
She likes to be,
I like to see the whole thing and, salaries are included, payrolls included. When,
other than general expenditure.
mhm.
Who was our bill people this week? Any questions, comments? A motion to accept and pay the bills is presented.
So move.
A second,
I'll second it.
any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Our division reports are online for the water, sewer, highway, the assessor. Do we have anyone from the Upper Delaware Council?
No, she did send in that report. she was, sure that she was gonna be able to get that on.
Okay, that's fine. I know Brandy is here with the Energy Committee.
You hear me?
There you go, Brandy, you're on.
Thank you. I couldn't unmute myself. Okay, soft plastic. To date, the town of Tustin residents and businesses contributed 30,000 pounds of, or 15 tons of soft plastic to be recycled by Trex. The bank building plaque, the TEC presented a new metal plaque design to the town board designating that the town-owned bank building uses energy-efficient air source heat pumps, and we'll be discussing that later. Trash recycling receptacles, the newly ordered replacement stickers on all exterior receptacles in town were applied but did not hold after the rain. So Ben asked me to design and order 6-inch metal plaques reading trash and recycle with pre-drilled drilled holes, and he's going to install those. You got those, Ben?
Yes, I did, thank you.
Excellent. To your approval?
Sure.
Good. I love them. Okay, the Tustin horse update. The TEC has been consulting with Growing Soul, a Sullivan County nonprofit which addresses food waste and recovery, and now partnering with Sullivan County's efforts to feed those in need. Part of that equation is food scrap recovery and food production for our county, which consistently ranks as one of the least healthy in the state. This group sees the value of the Tustin horse and has shown a great interest in partnering in operational support. Growing Soul is a wonderful solution for ongoing Tustin horse operations and upgrades. Growing Soul is currently partnering with Cornell Cooperative Extension on the Sullivan County Zero Waste Food Security Project to create a sustainable, regenerative, self-energized integrated food security pilot housed at Cornell, the site in Liberty, New York. They are interested in making the Tustin horse a key part of the system. At the September 13th board meeting, the board unanimously approved the TEC to apply to a state continuation grant called the Municipal Food Scraps Recycling Initiative 2021, which would enable the horse updates, the move to Cornell Cooperative Extension Liberty, and horse operations with Growing Soul. The TEC then worked quickly with Jane Luxinger on finalization of the grant, and it was submitted on September 18th. And the TEC was notified on October 12th, right after the last board meeting, that the Tustin was selected for a $200,000 3-year grant in a pre-award phase. That was a good accomplishment. And the required insurance documents were uploaded in October, a step that now enables the Office of the State Comptroller to review and issue the final master contract for grants to Tustin for approval. The first grant deliverable is to move the horse to Liberty at Cornell. Cornell sent a letter to the town of Tustin dated October 18th expressing interest to host the horse at its local location in Liberty. So I had written this last paragraph before I spoke to Ben about it, but we were awaiting the state comptroller's review, and then we can't have the board have a motion yet until they approve the grant. So I'm hoping that by next town board meeting, we'll be able to accept the $200,000 grant because the state comptroller sanctions it and the board is on board with this. Finally, in appreciation of the town's support, the TEC is planning a spring event to give away the great plant food product produced by the horse called Second Helpings, a plant food solution. All Tustin town residents will be invited to bring a container, gallon, small bucket to collect their first plant food nutrient product produced in Tustin from Tustin food scraps. And that's that.
Thank you, Brandy. Any questions from the board?
No, but I think it should be noted that Jen Porter did a remarkable job of turning around in 5 days a grant that yielded a $200,000 award.
Yeah,
That's pretty remarkable.
That is most impressive to be able to come through the DEC in 5 days and actually get an award.
Yeah. Should be noted.
That's the bar for your next one.
Oh, yeah. Mm,
Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, zoning rewrite committee. That's not the zoning, that's the one. Zoning rewrite committee continues to meet every 2 weeks. We're at the point where we're going, well, I guess you're going to it, but we're going to ask for board support for general code to start to tabulate everything and put it into one document. But anyway, you'll discuss that in the new business, I guess. The next is the water committee.
Yeah, water and grants.
Yeah, grants committee.
Next page.
Grants committee, the 2000 UDC grant update zoning committee continues to meet every 2 weeks. Little Lake Erie Culvert, the bids have been received, being reviewed by Shoemaker and New York State Department of Transportation. Water infrastructure project continues to be coordinated by Delaware Engineer, and the committee met with the Delaware Engineering to outline a schedule, and you can't believe the schedule. William Pomeroy Foundation Lava School marker has arrived. It'll be installed after an appropriate pole was received. The pole that they got was too short. And the horse grant, which I said was initiated by the Tustin Energy Committee, was awarded the 200. The project will include moving, just what Brandy said, moving the horse to Liberty, updating the equipment and hiring appropriate personnel to operate. Water committee report. This was nice that 2 representatives from Delaware Engineering attended the meeting on November 7th at 8 in the morning. And that included Dave Oman, who is the president, I guess, of Delaware Engineering, and Joe Golan, who is our project manager. And they presented the schedule in depth of how this is to proceed. And there were a lot of details that have to be, a lot of papers that have to be checked off and submitted. So that's moving ahead. Dave Bunz also shared with us the RCAP. RCAP is the organization that we've worked with all along. And they did an energy review report for both water and sewer departments. I don't know if the Brandy, the TEC might want to review that. I did ask for that. And that was it on water sewer. Okay. Any questions?
None, thank you. You made 6 hours worth of meetings sound like it was simple.
Yeah.
Get ready to start sending food.
I will, any other old business or any other old business?
No.
Well, not even at the.
Any other
business yet.
reports?
Let's just, we're done with our reports, and then let's open up to public comment. We'll start with the floor. If there's anybody that's got questions on the floor. Yes, Star.
Yeah, I thank you for reading my correspondence, my email that I sent on the 8th. I had also attached a copy of the original costing discrepancies report that I had written up regarding the ADA certification of the toilet that we had in town. And I also wanted to have an accounting of that, because I don't think that unit was an ADA certified unit, and it cost the town about $1,800 more going with that option, which was less, what should we say, congenial than the porta potty you could have gotten for a lot less money. I asked for a certification of the response I got for saying that that was an ADA toilet. And I've just been running around in circles back and forth trying to get something that certifies the statement that was made that the ADA unit was in fact and a qualified unit in that respect. So,
Yeah, I think what you're gonna get, Star, is, it was requested from Enviro Ventures, the specifications of that unit. And I just received this about 5 minutes before I walked in. And it does have in there, and a copy will be provided to you on it, which listed as ADA compliant and Title 24 compliant.
okay, that's fine, but then I would still like to have the statement that was made that this was a compliant unit, certified in a proper way.
So something on the last page.
Oh, on this.
It's this.
Yeah, she's got it, she's got that, but this,
Mhm.
yeah. So that will be forthcoming. And I'll get you a copy of what I got out of the, from Enviro Ventures. That'll be included with it.
Okay,
Another point is that was not all town expense. The Chamber of Commerce donated a considerable amount of money toward that.
More than half.
Yeah, they, $150, but almost half, and then I believe there was also, the proper. Where,
I know,
Jody, I don't know if that was contributed or not, but. it was-
yeah. So that was not all town expense.
well, in Denver's defense, it was, if it was purported to be an ADA unit and it was not an ADA unit, then that should be looked into. It should be looked into.
We did.
Okay, well, I'm just
And
saying,
you'll get a copy of what we got from the company that we rented it from, that states that it is ADA compliant. Any other public comment from the floor before I move to Zoom? Not, I will move, you're good on Zoom?
Yeah, everyone can unmute themselves. And no one has raised their hand. or anything.
I will move into old business, 6.1, the Main Street plaque, 6.1.
That's because.
Well, I'm just adding you guys,
Okay.
let's shoot 5.1.
Yeah, but why did that change it?
Let's go to 93 Main Street plaque
Yeah.
without a number.
Mhm.
Sorry. Odd.
Uh,
you right there?
Motion to authorize the Energy Committee to purchase the plaque and place it on 93 Main Street building. With their explanation on it as the board has reviewed.
I'll make that.
A second,
I'll second.
any discussion?
Just a shout out to Naomi, Brandy and Kevin for their work on that. I think it looks very nice and it was a very efficient, cooperative, nice process.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth, yeah, that's for sure. but-
And it moved it forward very nicely. I think it's something we can all feel really good about.
Excellent. I have a motion, I have a second, all in favor? Aye.
Right.
Opposed. The first grant, I think that will be tabled. So Brandy knows that this meeting will be recessed till Tuesday for water levies, so if something comes in, Brandy, let us know. That way we can add it to the recess meeting. The 2023 budget. Any discussion amongst the board, any changes needed, or a motion to adopt the 2023 preliminary budget as presented?
I just repeat that question that I was sent to you. This horse grant comes through, let's say in the next 2 weeks. Does that go on our books? I know it's got kind of a wash.
It will, yes, that would go on our, much like we've got a budget modification in addition coming in now. It would come in under a grant line and then we would have an expenditure line
Okay,
so that we'd be able to track it, yes.
what if it doesn't come in until February, for whatever controller kind of thing? It doesn't come until February, where does that,
We would be able to add it to this,
okay,
that budget, much like Jane's grant with the Pomeroy Foundation,
okay,
which we're actually gonna see a budget modification tonight. on.
It's- okay, I just wanted to understand,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money.
Yes, yes, it is. I'm sorry, Jane, you're gonna make a motion to-
I'm
Okay.
looking forward to read it. I move that we adopt the 2023 budget as presented.
It's the preliminary budget.
So I have a motion to adopt the 2023 preliminary budget as presented. A second,
I'll second that.
any further discussion on the budget? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Water improvement project as a result of the meeting that Jane had mentioned before. The motion to authorize the attorney of the town to research and obtain bond anticipation notes in the amount of $500,000 for the water improvement project. And this is to start with the surveying and the engineering process in order to start covering some of the costs beforehand.
So it's like a bridge loan.
Yes, yeah, the bond anticipation note is one in which we're anticipating a bond. And this is money to hold us over until we get to that point.
I move that we authorize the attorney of the town to research and obtain bond anticipation note in the amount of $500,000 for the water improvement project.
A second,
I'll second.
any discussion further? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Do we have any other old business? Right, moving into new business. The agreement for the expenditure of highway monies. This is from the superintendent of highways. General repairs, a sum of $307,164 shall be set aside for general repairs on 62 miles of the town highway. What they include on his report is 8.9 miles of hot mix asphalt, 18 to 20 foot width, 18 to 20 foot width, 2-inch thickness, with old road base, sub base, and that would be Perry Pond, Forest Pond, Hoffman, Ryer, Malls Pond, and Lackawaxen. And an 8.64 miles for chip seal, 16 feet to 20 feet with old road base, sub base, and that would be Parker, Dobb, Line Pond, School Street, and Hilltop. And I would make a motion to approve the agreement for the expenditures of highway maintenance.
I'll second that.
Any discussion further? All in favor? Aye, opposed. And just so the board knows, each of us has to have this signed for Crystal before we leave tonight.
Why do we even have to do this?
It authorizes him to expend his money. This is the checks and balance part of the
Okay.
board.
You know, I wonder why. it's
For the road
been-
highway superintendent that doesn't do what he's supposed to, this is the purse strings.
Mhm.
Budget transfers.
Following budget transfers. The first is A 5410.4 signs and sidewalks to increase by $1,140 and decrease A 2706 local grants, the Pomeroy Foundation for $1,140. And that was a sign that Jane was speaking about for lava. The second would be to create a line 82680 called insurance recoveries for $35,364.12 to be funded. We will increase a 1620.4 building contractual by $35,364.12. So the increased revenue, insurance recoveries would go into a 1620.4, and we would decrease a 2680, the insurance recoveries by the same amount, $35,364.12. So that is the 93 Main Street building for the damage that we had. The insurance recoveries was $35,364.12. So we're gonna create the line in order to put it into the budget, because we don't have that. We're going to then decrease that line and increase the building contractual,
Okay.
and then the signs and sidewalks,
Gotcha.
self-explanatory.
Mhm.
Any question on that? That's how, Evan, when you're thinking about the grant money, it would be just like how I insurance coverage. I would make the motion to do those budget transfers.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. General code. A motion to accept the estimates from general code. Supplement number 2, local law numbers 1 of 2020 for $670 to $770. Supplement number 2, which is a zoning second revision, which should not be more than $8,520. And supplement number 2, the zoning, which would be the inclusion of all that we've had to this point, to between $7,475 and $7,795. That's $17,085 total.
And we did receive some UGC funding for that.
We've got that, and the other we had budgeted into the contraction from the town clerk.
So I move that we accept the following estimates from general code.
I'll say it.
Okay, and that would also need to accept the estimates and proceed. I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed. A motion to authorize the Tustin Youth Commission and Narrowsburg Chamber of Commerce to close Main Street from the Interstate Bridge to the post office on Sunday, December 4th, 2022, as part of the Holiday Magic in Narrowsburg and the town Christmas tree lighting. Which is, the lighting is at 5:30 p.m. The closure would be from 2 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
I make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Other new business? Did we miss anything? The only thing that we don't have under new business yet, and this is gonna come from Ken, it should be at our, the recess meeting would be the senior exemptions. We need to get those moving for Kenny, we did that and done that. So no other new business, I'm going to open the floor back up for public comments. Start here. Yes, start.
I just noticed, the agenda you handed out, it was very much truncated, and I understand you probably can't see the 15 pages of printed out things that you scrolled up on the screen there. But, is there any way to make this a little bit more informative of what you're doing or what the subject is about?
I don't see why not. It's
just hard to follow when you're scrolling along a screen, and if you want to look at something and it's already moved on to the next place. I'm going to try to go home and print this. I'm assuming these are all the full extent of the notes is on the webpage. I can get it off of there, but I really think that would be helpful for people who come to the meetings, and also for people who pull this agenda off. From online. The other thing I wanted to ask on the agenda is what you just went over, new business. On my paper, it's all under number 6, item 6. And yet on the screen, it was all under item 7. Did I miss something? Was something inserted in there?
other than the numbers possibly being out on the 2 different ones, everything that we went over was there, with the exception of the numbers were wrong.
Okay, so you
I don't know why the numbers.
you
were wrong.
somehow jumped from 6 to 7?
You know, that's why, like, before I made the joke about I was at 6 and they were at 5. Mine was different than theirs.
Okay, I still don't understand how that transpired, but all right. I guess-
Okay. I can tell everyone why, because on grants, not everyone in the public can see this, but grants became number 4 instead of 3.8. And that is,
So that'll be corrected.
yes. And it's fixed now.
So So I really wasn't ahead of everybody.
You were not ahead of anybody.
No,
Okay.
And unfortunately, the full packet that the board has and we put up on the screen is not always ready in advance for us to give to the public. I think that's what Sarah's asking. For what you're looking at, for her to be able to get online before a meeting. But some things are changed,
Right before we sit down.
correct?
Any other comment from the floor? Any other comment from who?
Randy does have her hand up.
Sure.
Randy, you can unmute.
Hello. So Ben,
Oh, that was on.
Yes.
I didn't hear something you had said. Did you say that you're gonna have a recessed water meeting and then you could possibly do the resolution there if we found out from the comptroller?
Yeah, what I had said is we're gonna recess this meeting, so if you find out anything from the comptroller, this meeting is only gonna be recessed till Tuesday.
This
This
coming
coming
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Okay,
but
I
it's-
just didn't know the
it's
date.
not
What
the-
date? What date is that? The 15th or,
I believe the 15th.
okay, so, all right, 11/15. So if we get it before then, the minute I get any kind of response to this grant, I will let you know. But I appreciate you squeezing us in if that's possible. So you guys are
Yeah.
ready to vote on it if we do get approval from the comptroller?
Yeah, as long as Ken looks at it, like I had said to Jen, I mean, seems pretty straightforward if the first deliverable that the state's looking for is a transfer of it.
Right.
That kind of really answers all the questions I think the board would have on it.
Could you possibly ask him ahead of time so that he, at the end, he doesn't say, no, now I need a few weeks to review? I mean, if we could get ahead of it with him, 'cause since you made it very clear how easy the transferable thing would be. I just want him to be on board too. So if you could talk to him ahead of time, that would be great.
Yeah, depending on when that comes in, that would be fine.
If the minute I get it, I'll send it to you. Thank you very much. That's all. I just didn't hear the date for the meeting. And what time is that meeting?
We haven't set that yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But I will let you know.
Thank you.
Well. Before we go into our closing items in our recess
and board comment.
import comment, is there any other comment from the floor? If not, I would like to take this time, it was one of our opening items to extend to the family of Ed Jackson our appreciation for probably 20 years of being a public servant to the town of Tustin, is way of the planning board chairman. He was appointed by Dick Crandall, I believe, in 2002, and served right up until his passing. I know I spoke to Ed right after he'd had his surgery, and as I'm talking to him, it was a typical Ed. It's like, oh yeah, and by the way, I need to talk to you about WellMet, and when they come back into, and it's like, he was one day out of surgery, and that's who he was. I think his desire to serve the town was well noted.
Mhm.
He'll be a hard one to follow. That's for sure. So, on behalf of the board, we do extend to his family our appreciation for the time that he served for us.
Yeah, I was on zoning and he was, planning. He really brought up a real intellectual curiosity and enthusiasm for his job. I mean, it's kind of fun to see him.
I
work.
know I had a conversation with Ed when I became supervisor. He was only about a year into it. And I blamed Dick Crandall for, what did you do? What did you do to me? Because I knew Ed Jackson in a different light, and he was a good planning board chairman. He did well with the town of Tustin. I enjoyed working with him. And some of the stories that, I know of Ed and spent with Ed, you'd understand why I would say that. But he did well for the town. I think everything he did was definitely town related and town oriented.
He obtained the fragment from the World Trade Center too, which is.
Yeah, he did that for the Veterans Park.
Mhm.
He was president, currently president for the New York State Planning Association.
Mhm.
He put time and effort in.
Mhm.
And I will move that to board comment.
I have a comment. I just want to say how delightful it was to come to vote yesterday. I had to walk away 2 times because the lines were so long. I don't know if we had a record number when it's a non-presidential, but we certainly had a big number
I
out
believe
there.
there were 600 or some.
543.
That's here, but
Yeah.
then we have the absentee ones too. But more than that, what impressed me is how many people brought their children. There were a lot
were
of
trying to vote.
children. No, but they taught them and they brought them right to the booth and I was very impressed. And I'm just making public note that I'm thankful how many people came out to vote.
It was nice to see.
Mm.
Yeah, I've never waited more than 5 people in front of me, and this was a real public gathering.
Yeah.
Like something-
Yeah, we were in early and it was just 4 or 5 people behind us. And after we got over the fact that, Charlie wasn't there.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
that was-
And, I will not say that Francis looked like Charlie, but he looked like Charlie in a thinner silver.
Charlie, okay?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think there's been better news.
We need
One thing about I heard people commenting on, and I agreed, there was one printer yesterday, and there was the concern that were that printer to break,
It did.
yeah,
at one point I had-
so we might want to look at the redundancy there, depending on how those things
That's
are.
the board of.
That's
And
not.
That's
Yeah.
the board of elections, they bring all that.
Okay, so we
that
might
and-
want to.
And a lot of people did complain about the weight, and they felt that it was, due to everything just being printed and there only being the one printer. And from my understanding, that's been a countywide.
So while it might not be our responsibility, it's probably good feedback to pass along.
I don't think you can substitute in a printer that's not the Board of Elections printer, and I know.
And that's not what I was suggesting, Star. I was just to pass the feedback along in case there could be an improvement or there's a policy that we didn't.
No, no, but I know other people have brought this up, and at the Board of Elections training, that was one of the things that they said, no. You get this one, that's all you get. I guess they're very expensive or whatever.
Because there were a few people that. because of the-
The other important thing to note for everyone is that your vote definitely counts. If you looked at the final tally, how close, some things
Two votes.
inside were 2 votes. So really your vote counts. And that's why you should go out and vote. Okay, that's my soapbox.
General question, do we know what happened with the cannabis question?
Pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think the no's carried.
Those carried
But yeah,
by a lot.
well, a lot of.
The environmental.
No, I think it was like 54% for one.
Yeah.
It was
Statewide.
considerable. I was.
So we need to adjourn our meeting, or not adjourn,
Recess.
recess our meeting to the next week.
Tuesday, November 15th.
6:30?
Ruth?
I can do earlier than that. I can be here by 5 o'clock. wanna get it over and done with.
I think Ken should be able to be here by that point. in time,
Oh,
so-
right, yeah,
You want to do 5:30? Does that work for everybody?
yeah.
Brandy, we're gonna recess to 5:30 on that Tuesday. If there's nothing else, I would make a motion to recess to,
So moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.